Shout out to Cats Pod.
1 second. A big defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Milan is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. Ben Christian's here of the Cats Pod, joined by my co-host, the illustrious Eric Lauver.
Back
just,
to the illustrious.
Just wearing all gray today with the black sweatpants, just trying to look good for the podcast, the audio format, trying to make sure we're showing out for this. Today we have a very special guest because we got really sick of trying to say good things about the Grizzlies. So we thought we'd actually bring somebody in who knows something about the team, who's actually cheered for them before. So we have lifetime Grizz fan, also football coach, Brad Armour. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're the first time we've ever gotten that, so I feel like we sound way more official when you hit us with that one.
Just stating facts here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, big game coming up. How are you feeling? Just initial thoughts, right? I mean, just shoot from the hip right now. Who's winning and the score?
All right, who's winning right now? Ultimately, South Dakota State's a juggernaut of a team. It's probably going to be SDSU. Admittedly, even as a Grizz fan, and I could justify the Grizz winning it in other ways, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. That South Dakota State team, those are some real people over there.
Dude, you are like not anything like the rest of Grizz fandom on Facebook and Twitter right now.
Yeah, hold on.
Facebook and Twitter, it's Grizz by a million. Everybody thinks that is all we've been hearing for 2 weeks straight.
Do we have a rational Grizzly fan on here?
I know.
I've never
insane.
seen one. I knew they were rare, such as a unicorn, but I didn't know that they actually existed.
Do you know the only thing that's more rare than a rational Grizzly fan?
Tell me.
Just an SDSU fan in general. And SDSU loves to hear about how nobody goes to their games. It is their favorite thing to hear is how nobody actually goes to their games. Brad, do you think there are SDSU fans?
Considering that South Dakota has people in its state, there's got to be at some point.
There's somebody,
I know there's somebody out there somewhere.
I'm pretty sure.
I hope to find you at the game.
I'm pretty sure all the meme posters from SDSU online right now are all Russian bots. I think it's completely ran by Russian bots. I'm pretty sure they are coming in just to sow discontent between Montana and Montana State fans. They're trying to make us hate each other more.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that because you are giving. I mean, you have to be fair. South Dakota State is a well-oiled machine, pretty much both sides of the ball. But yeah, anyway, so if you had to take just a shoot from the hip score, what do you think it's going to be? A high-scoring affair, a low-scoring? What are you thinking?
And that's going to be the key with it because if it's going to be a high-scoring game, South Dakota State's going to come on top with it. Because that means the Grizzly defense hasn't done its job and what their original game plan is probably going to be to begin with. So if there is going to be a high-scoring game, South Dakota State's going to be on top of it. If it's going to be a low-scoring game, I think that's the best opportunity for the Grizzlies to take advantage of.
Are you worried just because of how low scoring the offense has been in the last couple playoff games? Is that kind of the worries behind that?
When an offense doesn't put up a lot of points, especially as much as South Dakota State has, it's always, something to consider. But you also look at the type of team that Montana has become and that they've really developed into, especially from the second half of the season into the postseason. And, you're looking at a team who is, never given up, never gotten down and out. They're really a bunch of players who wear their hearts on the sleeves just to get the job done.
Yeah, we were kind of talking in one episode that we kind of felt that for Montana to win this game, every player would probably have to play their best game. Every single one of them would probably have to play their best game to knock off a South Dakota State. What do you think?
To a point. Obviously you have to have your best game every time you go out and play in order to win. That's always the goal, at least to begin with. But you also think about the situation. It also comes down to some of those matchup situations. Like South Dakota State. Speaking of course, South Dakota State's offense, that offense has probably one of the top 3 offensive lines and the number 1 running back in the entire nation.
That is true, but it's not like the guys from Montana are slouches. Eli Gilman's been a killer.
Oh no, not at all.
Been a killer this year, and I feel like the running games might be kind of a fun matchup within the matchup to watch if you just went running game versus running game for this game.
Oh yeah, totally. But what I'm getting at is that it's going to be that Montana Grizzlies defense and their ability to just wreak havoc. Gronowski is has a highly rated passer passing, and he high completion percentage and all that. And the way the Grizzlies have been able to do that with other quarterbacks, especially the North Dakota State quarterback, make them down and dirty. You got to take advantage of those opportunities for a tackle for a loss or a strip sack. And part 2 of that is the matchup is going to have to be with the receivers, our secondary versus the South Dakota State receivers, which I do think we actually have in our favor.
Yeah, that definitely seemed like something that I remember. I remember a certain game that happened not too long ago where the wide receivers for the Grizzlies looked very good. And it still kind of haunts my dreams. And every once in a while I'll wake up in a cold sweat. So if they could make that happen to SCSU, I think that would be a very good game for them.
I think
so too.
One thing is, especially the last couple Montana games, Junior Bergen has made all the difference in the world. I mean, of course, everybody played well on defense and all that good stuff, but without Junior Bergen's special teams heroics, it kind of seemed like he was the reason they won those games. Do you think he has to be the hero at all?
I think he's got to be one of the heroes, because it's not just because special teams is going to be a big part of it, especially for Montana, because Montana's always been, always had a really, really good special teams program, with previous kick returners and punt returners. I mean, shoot, we sent at least 3 or 4 to the NFL. Special teams has always been one that's bailed us out. But on top of that, I think what it comes down to is it's the in-between things where things are really down and out. We're going to have to depend on like Clifton McDowell and Eli Gilman, for those breakaway plays, because it's going to be a major slugfest, but we got to be able to hold on and take advantage of, those freak breakaway plays in those situations. And that's how we're able to use that offensively and stay in it.
I was saying that a few weeks ago. I don't know how it happens, but it feels like for the last decade to 12 years, the Grizz have always had one return guy that was extremely dangerous. And I'm like, how does this happen every single year? They just find a guy who cannot be tackled. I don't know where they're locating these guys. I don't know if they're checking just the schoolyard for people playing tag or what the recruiting style is, how you find a guy who's good at special teams. But it seems like they've locked it down for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I have no clue how they do it. They always pull somebody out of nowhere.
Yeah, Junior Bergen is even as a Cat fan, I have to admit it's awfully impressive, and I think that he's got to have a pretty big part, because watching the last few Grizzly games, there have been a few others that made pretty big plays, but Junior Bergen's catching and running ability, and most especially his balance when getting hit with the ball in his hands, seems just to be the difference almost every time.
Oh yeah, he's a very, very special kid. He's obviously, the finisher. He's the one that gets the points. He's the one that puts in the final effort, that everybody sees in the end of that. But what we also have to consider too, though, is you got to consider those defensive stops to where they put them in those punting positions and the punting situations to where it's going to be in favor of field positioning anyway, to where it's easier for Junior Bergen to run 40 yards for a punt instead of 85.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard anything on an injury report for the Grizzlies? They going in pretty darn healthy, I would sure imagine.
They've by the great miracle of God, they somehow have missed the major injury bug for the entire year. And so I haven't heard of any injuries that have been coming out or anything like that. They've been really healthy this whole time, and even being able to come through a double overtime game in the playoffs in freezing cold. Nobody really came out injured. Everybody seems to be ready to go.
Oh, that's always good to hear, because we definitely want the best game possible to watch. Another critique of the Grizzlies has been, and they've played very well, is there have people been saying that the Grizzly defensive line is a bit undersized. Do you think that factors in with South Dakota State's juggernaut of an offensive line?
Yes and no, because how can we say we're undersized when we literally have our defensive tackle as defensive player of the year? Making all the plays individually, and on top of that, the type of defense the Grizz run, the defensive line does their job. They're able to break through the line, do their plays, but it also comes down to those linebackers also occupying up and doing other things as well. It's a really, it's a true partnership for that front seven. They make plays for each other.
Yeah, it definitely looks like those guys have really come together as a unit for sure.
And that's been like the whole second half of the season. I think all the talk has been about how the defense for Montana has come together and they've created some special bond. And that's like every single game that they've had during the playoffs feels like it's been ride or die the entire time. And they just find a way to win in these crazy situations. I hate to say it, but Montana kind of feels like the team of destiny in this situation.
No.
They just found a way to win every single time. They feel like a team that they're not lucky to be there, because they're a good team. But they seem like they've just kind of had to scrap for every single inch, and I think that means something in some football gods type of way when it comes to a championship game, to be the completely irrational fan here.
I just can't.
That sounds like somebody who's bitter about the blowout for the last regular season game.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Brad.
All the negativity talk about the Grizz I've been hearing on this podcast the whole time, and credit to the Cats. They had an incredible season. I know a couple of those kids on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Love those kids to death. But we're here. We're in the Cats at.
You're right. You are right.
We've been dealing with.
You are right.
You guys have been on top the whole season. The Grizz have been down here. Oh my gosh! Especially after losing to NAU, we've had to build and climb for everything. You guys have stayed up here and just.
Yeah,
kind of
we had a couple bobbles, but it was. I have to say, it was the Halloween episode when I recorded from your basement, and before I went downstairs to record the podcast, I can't remember what you said exactly, but you were like, "Thank you for the Bobcats for Bobby stuff. It's been great for our locker room." And I was like, "Damn, this is the first person that's actually called me out on that." And it was the first time I started sweating about Bobby Houck and how he might not be the joke that I was making him out to be. And he
I was
definitely
sincere about it. I appreciated it greatly. He's the all-time winningest coach in Big Sky. Previously in his coaching tenure, he's brought the Grizz to 4 different national title games.
Mm-hmm.
How many has he lost? Remind me.
Well, he's lost 4, but how many have the Cats been in?
We have the makings of a dynasty team here, and the writing is on the wall for these boys.
Yeah, it's all up from here. That's what we figured out, because our subscribership actually relies on it, so everything has to be all up from here. Like that's exactly what we're depending on.
Well, I have to throw the trash out there a little bit, because I feel like we weren't defended properly last time. Yeah, you guys had somebody on there for the Grizz.
That's true, and you do it from this position where we can't even defend ourselves. We're just shooting. We're just sitting ducks, and you're like, I'm just gonna chuck it out there, and I'm trying to think of things I can say, but I can't really say anything.
Oh, I have one.
Oh yeah.
Clifton McDowell has to do more than 10 points of offense. He's got to do more, because there is no way the Grizzlies even sniff South Dakota State if he can only muster 7, maybe 10. He's going to have to put up 20 points of offense minimum to even keep this game close.
That's a fair point. Yeah, Clifton McDowell is not, obviously the big he's not the big star of that offense. He definitely knows how to manage that offense and get everything straightened away. And throughout the playoffs, there have been some hiccups with Clifton McDowell, but that's why I also mentioned, like, we also got to take advantage of those home run plays, those, opportunities to keep up with it, and that's also Clifton McDowell, being able to see the opportunity and read and run for it, or actually make that pass over the middle, or finding Keelan White or any of our other threats. Once that defense makes that mistake, we got to take advantage of that home run situation.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to have to be super opportunistic for Montana getting those points probably early and as often as possible, because I just don't see a recipe for winning if they're relying on special teams again to kind of pull it out for them at the end. What one other thing I just thought of, speaking of special teams, it seemed like the Grizzlies were having a bit of kicker issues there in that last game. What happened there? I mean, they tried two different kickers. They were kind of trying to take a playbook out of the Cats there. It seemed like.
I was gonna say, are you getting flashbacks there a little bit, Bud?
I mean, no.
No,
we switched kickers once, and then we stuck with them. We stuck with Kautzman. Okay, Kautzman is still the dude. I'm not worried. I know it didn't end right for him, but I still believe in Casey Kautzman. Casey Kautzman's the dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless we happen to pick him another kicker in the transfer portal or something.
I'll be the first to admit I had flashbacks to it watching the Cats play Idaho, so I got a little scared too. But I also think with the weather situation, frosting, snowing, freezing, and trying to work that out, and especially in high pressure situations, which granted we need them to work in high pressure situations. There were other factors, and I just think, especially going down to Texas now, to where I think it'll be more manageable for the kickers. With this extra time to actually get their head straight.
What is the difference between the two kickers? Is one more of a short yardage and one a long yardage, or what's the difference between the two of them, or were they experimenting?
What are we talking about for leg lengths here? Like what kind of inseam are we working with for both these kickers? Do we have a one long leg and one short leg kind of kicker?
Yeah, I bet your kicker isn't 6'9".
Hey, did you know that? Did you know that Brendan Hall's 6'9"? Did you hear that?
What? No way. No way. You and every ESPN commentator I've ever watched.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's what the deal was. Like when it was farther, like 40 plus yards, they brought in the other guy, so I would just so that way they can make an attempt at the distance, try to keep, boot it as hard as you can, keep it between the pikes, and it just didn't work out that way because both those kicks that were missed were, I think they're like 42 and 43 yards out, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's pretty long kicks for college. Not gonna lie. It happens that way. So speaking of commentators, I don't know if you've heard, but there's going to be a Montana guy that is doing the broadcast for the championship game. A guy, and by a Montana guy, I say a guy from Montana, Mr. Ryan Leaf.
I did see that.
Mr. Ryan Leaf is going to be the commentator for this game. So how interesting is that going to make it for Montana people? Because Montana people obviously love him so much, right?
As long as it's not Marty Morningweg, I'm a happy camper.
That's a hater right there.
Yeah. Only slightly.
I don't know. I think I'd rather have Marty over, Mr. Leaf.
He's kind of.
I've never heard Mr. Leaf actually explain anything before, so.
Yeah. Honestly,
I'm curious to hear about it.
It's kind of fun to talk a little bit of trash about Ryan Leaf, but the stuff he does on the Rich Eisen show is actually really good right now, and he has kind of turned like a little radio career going on, and he is really good, and he does talk about like everything he's gone through. Because before he was doing that, he was doing sobriety talks all over the country.
Yeah, he was a pretty big public speaker there for a while.
Yeah.
He went to the prison that I currently work at. So so I end up hearing and knowing a lot about Ryan Leaf, both from the inside and from the outside of prison bars. So, it does factor in a lot. And he is doing good things, but it's still like, really? That's the Montana guy that you find for this game?
Yeah. Ryan Leaf is the Montana guy. the Montana guy that nobody in Montana ever actually talks about.
Yeah. We're trying to forget, kind of like Cat Grizz this year. Trying to forget.
Well, that's one-sided.
Yeah.
Self-deprecating humor is all I got at this point. That's how I got through New Year's. That's how I'm getting through 2024. You know, I'm not changing the formula now. The recipe has to stay the same. You know.
Oh, I agree for you. If it works, it works.
I do think listening to Ryan Leaf say, Mark Gronowski hits Jaden Yonke for an 80-yard touchdown pass is going to be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be really, interesting to hear if that happens. It's going to be even more interesting when Clifton McDowell actually breaks off on a 60-yard run because the defense is too busy trying to figure out who to cover.
Oh, what? Does Clifton think that he's like Sean Chambers now or something? Like, did Clifton just change his mind? Because I've only seen him run all over a team if it was like Portland State.
Very true.
Only when needed.
Yeah. He's an opportunistic runner.
Well, when you got when you got freshman of the year running backs and Junior Bergen and all the other weapons, it's like, hey, do I need to do this all the time?
Well, it is interesting because you bring up a good point, Ben. Clifton McDowell, he channels his inner Sean Chambers. That is a heck of a compliment right there.
Clifton McDowell took a journey to the Sean Chambers secrets, and he found out some things, for this championship game. He's all ready to go after he dipped into that Sean Chambers secrets. One thing that I feel like you need to respond to is, why does Clifton McDowell have the name of an 80s villain in a teen high school drama?
Because he's a bad man.
He sounds like a guy that would still call people slurs. I think it works. He can be a bad dude. Clifton. He sounds like he went to the country club and never got out.
You're the only person that would pick that
guy
up.
Who wears 3 polos, all the collars are popped.
Oh yeah, a couple Chads and Brads. Coming along. One Clifton, 2 Chads, 2 Brads. He walks into a party and everybody just runs. That's just been my favorite joke from the season, so I felt like I needed to bring it out again.
Absolutely.
It's a good one.
One bit of news I saw that kind of relates to this game. Did you guys see all the memes about the Pop-Tart that was blowing up at the bowl game? The Pop-Tart mascot? At the Pop-Tart Bowl? No? Nobody saw this? Okay. So if you guys had been on the internet the last 7 days, you could actually talk to me about this. But there was a mascot dressed as a Pop-Tart, and he's been going off on memes all week long. Okay, let me tell you, he has been all over the internet. And it turned out, it was revealed by Sarah Spain of ESPN 2 days ago that the Pop-Tart mascot was none other than former Benny the Bull, which was the former Montana Grizzlies Monty.
That was Monty.
So the universe is working towards Montana right now in the form of Pop-Tart memes.
Wait, so what exactly happened to Mr. Pop-Tart?
Mr. Pop-Tart just popped out of a toaster and stole everybody's hearts. Okay? It was a heartwarming situation where a Pop-Tart was dancing around on the screen. I'm going to have to look up these Pop-Tart memes now just so that you can kind of understand what I'm talking about in there.
So
I love that man.
He was pretty good the entire time he was Benny the Bull.
Well, I used to have a poster of him as Monty up on my wall growing up. As mascot of the year for 03, 04.
He won 2 in a row or something. I didn't know mascot of the year was a thing until I started looking into this.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. So this Pop-Tart guy became famous by just putting on a Pop-Tart costume for what? Why did he have a Pop-Tart costume on?
He had a Pop-Tart costume because it was the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Most important thing is about you guys' safety.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
It's Pop-Tart Cardi. I was trying to find the volume on this and I found it too late. Okay, he popped out of it. Let me tell you, dreams really do come true, is what the sign for this Pop-Tart says. This is a visual thing for sure. But yeah, This Pop-Tart just popped out of a toaster and stole everybody's hearts, let me tell you. And then he went right back into he just waved goodbye, and then there he is. There's the Pop-Tart,
That's a man who reached out to everybody's hearts and minds and souls across America and knew what he was doing.
That's why I'm saying that they might be the team of destiny. Everything in the universe is working towards Montana right now.
I can't even look you in the face when you say that out loud. I just can't. Stop trying to please everybody, Ben. Be who you are.
I'm just trying to, hater. Hey, I'm just trying to make everything funny for this podcast, because if I don't find some jokes to be made out of this, what am I supposed to do? Just be sad all week?
Well, you don't have to be sad. You still get to wear your blue and gold and watch the Jackrabbits win.
Yeah. the blue and yellow.
We'll go with gold. It's close enough. We'll call it corn gold. How about that?
At least we'll know that SDSU has 2 fans this week, at least.
I do wonder, the Jackrabbits always say ears up, and is that not the most kind of the softest thing ever?
Yeah, I mean, it does sound as soft as baby ears. I can tell you that.
That sounds like, a kindergarten teacher trying to teach kids how to listen.
Yeah, that might be a big part of it. Ears up. That's like you're in the classroom and you're just like, okay, ears up, kids, ears up.
Ears up.
Yeah.
Ears up, mouths off. All right, children. Okay, it's time for the listening circle. Listening circle time. Ears up, mouths off.
Ears up. Here's the stick. When you have the stick, you can speak.
I went to Catholic school, so the stick meant something else. Okay, I don't want to think about the stick. Okay, the stick it still haunts my nightmares.
Yeah, the stick was actually a ruler.
No, it was just a stick.
Oh man, you went to fancy Catholic school.
Switch.
They pulled out the switch on us. I was like young Michael Jackson.
Well, Brad, are you making the trek down south?
Yes, sir. I'm actually me and my wife are gonna be flying down tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna get in Dallas early Friday morning and try to tour around a little bit, and before we catch the game and enjoy the time.
It does sound like a really fun place to go travel to. Do you have any big plans already, or are you just gonna try and find stuff right after you land?
Kind of that, but I know the place, the Airbnb we got, we're staying at. I know there's like a video game museum close by, and it's also like in the center of like a whole shopping and touristy area anyway.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, in the middle of that, it's probably the greatest game ever created, which is Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube.
Is that the centerpiece of the video game museum? It's Mario Kart Double Dash.
It has to be. It's the best game ever created.
Mario Kart Double Dash. I'm not going in.
I'm just saying. Okay, we played Mario Kart Double Dash last weekend. New Year's. Oh, actually, it wasn't last weekend because it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, we played Mario Kart Double Dash. We hit up that baby park, and you want to know who won the first game?
Was it you?
I won the first game.
And who won the rest of the games?
I knew it.
I didn't win a single game after that.
Yeah, I had. What do you call that?
It doesn't matter after that. If you win Baby Park, you win it all.
No, well, we only play Baby Park because it's the only course worth playing on that game. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I did win the rest of them.
This is the thing. Eric is so good at Double Dash. He's spent so much time playing this game that I no longer go for first every single time. But I try and have a balanced score sheet the entire time. So it only has 1 through 4. And so I will try and have the exact number of first, second, thirds, and fourths all the time. And I say that is a tougher strategic game to play. Because I have to intentionally lose sometimes.
You're so good and so bored with it that you have to challenge yourself in different situations.
And I have to be so accurate. Because do you want to know how hard it is to just get second place? When everybody's all bunched up, I can't get first, I can't get third. I have to make sure I just sneak in there for second place.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to get second. I've always been in first, so.
Yeah,
me too.
That's the problem. This is 2 people in the room that just beat me constantly and viciously at Mario Kart. I cannot handle this kind of thing, especially we got this national championship going on, and the Jackrabbits are playing against the Grizzly Bears, and I'm losing at Mario Kart, and nothing is going my way at this point.
I just have to ask you, Brad.
Yeah.
Most people in this Valier area really, I mean, they might be Grizz fans, but they actually hate Grizzly Bears. So, is that ironic?
It depends. What's your definition of irony?
Well, how can you say I love the Grizz and then turn around and say I hate grizzly bears?
Because the Grizz is the mascot of a nationally treasured school who is currently winning.
Nationally
And Grizzly
treasured.
Nicolas Cage loves this team. Let me tell you what, they are a national treasure, and he's going into Washington Grizzly while everybody's away, and he's going to steal the 50-yard line. The entire 50-yard line. He's going to roll it up, take it away.
And while
Nicolas
he's at
Cage,
it,
national treasure.
He's bringing that Brawl of the Wild trophy back to where it belongs. Bozeman. He's gonna postmark and deliver.
He takes Nicolas Cage comes in, steals the Brawl of the Wild trophy, okay? He takes it back to his random weird house and wherever he lives and puts it next to like the $4 million dinosaur fossil that he bought for some reason.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
we gotta be careful here because he could sue us for slander. Kind of like Jimmy Kimmel's threatening to sue Aaron Rodgers for slander. Did you see that one?
Oh my God, that was so bad.
That is so funny.
It's pretty bad. Did you see this? Brad?
No.
No.
What's going on?
Okay, so on Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers goes on there, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, and Aaron Rodgers made a joke about how Jimmy Kimmel is on Epstein's list. And Jimmy Kimmel, the man who has made more inappropriate jokes in his life than any other person on the face of the earth, threatened to sue him on Twitter because he made a joke about him being on the Epstein list.
Kind of like Jimmy Kimmel's never made a joke about any other living human being in his entire life.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel, if you're listening, I am not associated with anybody and associated any jokes in a negative way or fashion.
We aren't either.
Why are you trying to protect yourself right now? Come on, this is not what we brought you on for.
No,
we brought you on for hot takes and hot takes only.
For us. You guys are all part of it. I'm doing it for us.
And Nicolas Cage, if you are listening, Ben made fun of your weird dinosaur fossil, not me.
And I'm also making fun of you because I only make fun of the things that I love the most. That's the thing. If I love you, then I'm gonna make fun of you. Okay, Nicolas Cage, and you're welcome.
Boy, that was a weird tangent. Back to Frisco. You know where you have to check out? You have to try out Billy Bob's in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth? How far away is Fort Worth?
It's pretty much the same city. It's the Fort Worth Stockyards.
Well,
has
yeah,
Billy Bob's.
because Frisco, yeah.
Is that the place where Urban Cowboy was filmed? Are you telling him to go to the place where John Travolta rode a mechanical bull? Is that the peak of that's the peak of Texas for you?
And anybody can ride the mechanical bull, Ben, not just John Travolta. You could get on the back of that bull.
Yeah, I think I have ridden a couple of mechanical bull in my day, and it is not the right place for me. I do not belong on the back of a mechanical bull. It is a bad spot for me. I'm going to leave that to John Travolta, and I'm glad that the most Texas thing to you is Urban Cowboy.
Hey, they run the Longhorns down the cobblestone, the brick cobblestone drive right in front of Billy Bob's. They do some pretty cowboy stuff down there, but
well,
Billy
they got to make
Bob's-
up for a lot.
Billy Bob's is more than just John Travolta. You just get out of the pop culture here for just a second.
I'll try my best. No guarantees here. No guarantees whatsoever.
Have you found any Grizz like bars down there at all, or watch like little party areas?
The only thing that I know of is, like the Grizz tailgating. They'll have like a pre-game and tailgate party before the game and the day before the game. Those are the things I've heard of, though. But yeah, you bet I'm going to be, walking around seeing if I can find another maroon shirt wearing dude who's offering up free beer.
It would probably be fun because I bet anybody you find in maroon while you're there, you just become instant friends with no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be one of those situations. God, I'm jealous right now. I want to be going to Frisco.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. He went down when the Cats were there, and he said that the bars there are super stingy about like public intoxication inside the bar or whatever. Like they kick people out for being just kind of tipsy. Yeah, he said it was kind of a riot because there were people that definitely did not deserve to be sent home that were getting kicked out of the bars down there. Like they weren't given any second chances whatsoever.
Well, that's awesome because as an introvert like myself, I'm going to sit in the corner and watch everybody get kicked out and point and laugh.
And that is exactly how I see you handling that situation. That does not surprise me in any way whatsoever. You know, you are going to be laughing very loudly, I'm guessing, at a lot of people getting kicked out. I think a lot of people are going to be used to like their small town bars in Montana where they can probably like pass out at the bar. And so that's what their reference is for how drunk you're allowed to get at a bar. So then they get to an actual city and they're like, you mean I can't just get toasted off 72 Coors Lights in this place? I had 76 last week.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun down there, though, I think, especially if, you know, you said the weather's supposed to be 56 with maybe just a slight chance of rain. Be pretty enjoyable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, game day is supposed to be 58 and sunny, and weather's gonna be warm 50s. I'm stoked for it.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Even though there's no snow over here in Missoula, it's still dropped to 19 degrees.
Yeah, we're in the same situation here. It is still no snow whatsoever, but it is just getting cold as hell over the next couple weeks.
It does. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that considering we're calving right now, but it has been all right up to this point. Mm-hmm. Been pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like this tropical weather we're having over here in Valeria. It's been rather comfortable, And then I see the -5 next week, and here we go again.
A high of -4 next week is not going to be fun for us at all.
No.
Yeah, and you get to fly right back into it. You'll be down there enjoying the good weather and just fly home right into -5.
It's right into just sadness all over again.
You can't put out that energy right now. Okay? You might be flying high coming back from this place. You can't be just like completely negative already. The game hasn't even happened yet. See, this is where I'm such a different fan, you know, because if I was about to fly to Frisco right now because the Bobcats were in the national championship, I would probably be going into a spiral and doing cocaine right now. I would be that excited. I would be like, I need to be more excited right now, and I need to use illegal drugs.
Well, we'll see how it goes like after the game happens, because I mean, you know, depending on the result, it's probably going to be the same ending, but
we'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be a really interesting game, and I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch either way.
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
I'm pretty excited for some good FCS football. I mean, we have seen some pretty good football games in the college football playoff, but there really isn't any better football than the FCS playoffs all the way through. The structure, the format, the teams that make it, it's just way more fun than watching 4 teams battle out for one spot. I mean, we get a nice big bracket. Everybody has a fair shot. There are upsets. There's, you know, sometimes the higher seed wins, sometimes it doesn't. You know, just like this, we got number 1 versus number 2. You know, it's going to be a really good game regardless, even though I'm pretty sure the Jackrabbits win by 14.
I don't know.
Okay, which way did you bet on that line?
Well,
I think it was minus 13.5 that he bet.
13.5, yeah.
Yeah, minus 13.5, because that is a pretty juicy spread right now since everybody is currently betting on the Grizz right now. The Grizz are getting bet on so much that they have cut off the money line for Montana. You're not even allowed to bet it anymore because Montana's worried they're going to lose money on it.
It's totally grayed out to bet Montana Grizzlies money line. The line is still at minus 10.5 South Dakota State, but minus 13.5, 2 touchdowns for South Dakota State is plus 115. It's not very – I mean –
That is so crazy that it's like barely a positive line and you have to give up 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. It's thank you, Montana Sports Bet. I mean, I doubt I get bored tomorrow, but if I do, I'm going to write you an email about how much I hate you. But
well, when you do, let me see the email so I can write me too on it.
Yeah.
Would you like to sign our petition to make real sports betting legal in Montana and not just Montana Sports Bet. I think we should actually start that. That might be a good way for us to just get degenerate gamblers onto the podcast.
Oh, heck yeah. We'll start at grocery store parking lots and everything.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, here you go for just some player special props on Montana Sports Bet. You have who would you say is for an anytime touchdown? If you had to pick one player either side, who would you say has the highest likelihood in your opinion?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Do I want to be honest or do I want to be a fan?
I mean, you have to think that somebody from Montana is going to score a touchdown throughout this game. It's just like who's most likely from Montana to score one.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
I mean, either way, it's going to be. If there's garbage time, if it's a blowout, somebody is going to score for the Grizzlies. If it's not a blowout, then they win and they have to score points doing that. So, if you had to say one player that you think would get a touchdown as a fan, who would you say?
As a fan, I would say, honestly, as a fan, I would say Clifton McDowell.
Anytime touchdown scores -182.
-182 for Clifton McDowell? Like, that is tough. That is tough, especially since he's a quarterback, so he has to run it in. His passing touchdowns won't count, right?
Well, here you go. Okay, so correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
they would have to run it in.
Yeah.
To score 3+ touchdowns, Clifton McDowell is the worst odds at +1,300 to score 3 or more touchdowns.
Do you want to bet that
that ain't
one?
gonna happen. If I'm not taking Clifton McDowell for 3 touchdowns. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
but you put like $5 on that thing, and then all of a sudden it's like $250.
Oh, it just blows.
You know, yeah. you can put down no money on it, just make it a stringer, and then just be screaming when he actually gets 3 touchdowns. You know, that's why I like to bet those kind of bets. Because I don't like to bet a
They
lot
are
of
good
money,
ones.
but I like to have a lot of stakes in the game, you know?
Even worse is Isaiah Davis anytime touchdown scores -400. Like
Oh
that's
my
a
God. That is
Yeah.
like a bad
I was gonna
UFC
say, like, that's the
line.
most obvious
Montana
one.
Sports Bet, go home. Go home.
-400 is crazy to score a touchdown. I mean, Montana Sports Bet acts like scoring a touchdown is just some simple thing that just is a given and a guarantee in any circumstance.
They act like Isaiah Davis is Christian McCaffrey.
Or Julius Davis.
Brad, if you say anything bad about my boy Orange Julius Davis, I'm gonna
Nope,
throw
I
it.
respect-
I'm driving to Missoula tonight, and we will
Hey,
hash this out. Okay.
I respect the man. He's one of the few guys that I've actually witnessed stand up for himself and his teammates when the John gets going. He ain't afraid to back down.
Oh yeah, that's why he's
Oh,
my favorite. That's
okay.
why he's my dude.
On top of that, he's got the coolest nickname I've ever heard.
Just our terrible nickname that we made up.
I
It was
know.
the first
That's
thing
why
I
love
thought
it
of.
so
You know?
much.
You know?
Okay,
It-
so
And I think he doesn't
so
hate it
smooth.
because my dad yelled it in his face one time trying to get the phone so that he would record the part of our intro music, and he didn't get mad when he called him Orange Julius Davis.
okay, so here you go.
Oh, see, he's a class act.
Defense and special team props, which it's hard to track defense in the FCS because they don't keep stats on tackles. But
Yeah.
Braxton Hill, 3+ solo tackles is +120. That seems safe, doesn't it?
I'd do that.
I took in Cat Grizz, I took Nolan Askelson, linebacker for the Cats, for 9 or more tackles, and that one hit.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 3 for a linebacker that is very engaged in the defense.
Yes.
That seems like a really good bet.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a safe one. What do you have for Nick Osmo yards?
Oh, man.
Because in Cat
Ooh,
Grizz,
yes.
Cat Grizz, I don't know if I ever told you this, but his yardage was 11 plus yards.
Which I took that and put a fair amount of money on that
11
one.
plus yards was what the
What?
line was on him.
Yeah.
So it was like he's going to get 1 carry, basically, was what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, he got that on his first carry. I think he got 9 yards. And then he had to get 2 more throughout the rest of the entire game. And we were just like, how did they set this so low?
So Nick Osmo was 45 plus, and it's -111, which I feel like that's probably a fair line.
Yeah,
He's the short down back, so he's never going to get
he is. He's your guy for if you need 2-3 yards. That's who you're going to give it to. Whether it's to get the offense going or to score the touchdown or get the first down, anything like that. It's you want 3 hard yards, you're going to get 3 hard yards
for sure.
I do feel like he is just as likely to bust a big one as Gilman, though, because he has done it the last few weeks where he just goes for 20-some in one carry.
It's just going to depend on where on the field he's getting his carries. Because if he's getting his carries inside the 10-yard line every time, even if he busts through, it's going to be a 9-yard carry. Because I don't see him getting a lot of carries back at the 20 or the 30 where he can bust out for any kind of decent yardage,
I'm looking at the receiving props, and there is nothing I would even touch. I mean,
what do they got for Keelan White?
5+ receptions at even money. Plus 100.
Oh.
I don't know. 5 is a lot in college football.
5 is a lot
the
for
FCS.
these. 5 is a lot because there's so many running teams in the FCS.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're run heavy teams like the Grizz, it's hard to get 5+ receptions.
I could see Junior Bergen's 60+ receiving yards could happen, but it's minus 105. Like, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't make me excited to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Yonke is 75+ receiving yards, but once again, minus 111. It just doesn't do anything. It's not even worth betting on it.
What's a Junior Bergen anytime touchdown?
Junior Bergen is plus 300 for an anytime. No, that was 2+ touchdowns. Don't listen to me.
Okay, I was like 3 plus 350. That sounds a little juicy to me. I was getting a little excited over here. I was about to put some more money in my sports bet account. Since I lost it all at Cat Grizz.
Minus 154.
Minus 154. There's no juice there. I'm not going for it. I'm sorry, Mr. Junior.
No.
Sorry, Mr. Junior Bergen, but I can't ride with you in Frisco.
Honestly, I don't. None of these. So the ones that have any kind of good odds to them are terrible. I mean, the only one that even kind of resembles something I would even consider is Keelan White at plus 160, but
that's not bad.
He couldn't have scored that many touchdowns this year, did he? A couple, maybe.
He got a couple touchdowns, but he's the team's leader in receiving yards is his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know he
gets
that
yards for days.
He caught that 2-point conversion from Junior Bergen.
Yeah.
Or was that a touchdown? I can't remember. I think it was a 2-point conversion.
No, that was a 2-point conversion. It's double overtime.
Yeah, so I don't know if I trust him for a touchdown. Mark Gronowski is minus 111. That's actually not terrible considering Clifton McDowell is minus 182 and Mark Gronowski is minus 111.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going through these props and everything on here, other than that one about Braxton Hill with 3 solo tackles.
Yep, that seems really safe.
That I'm not seeing anything I like other than obviously 14-point spread.
Yeah, Keelan White has 4 touchdowns on the season, and that puts him second for receiving on the team. Really balanced receiving attack for the Grizzlies, honestly, with 5 touchdowns from Fontes, 5 from Junior Bergen, and 4 from Keelan White. So those are your top receivers, and it's really balanced, which might be like saying something good about Mr. Clifton McDowell, that he does spread it around that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's Aaron Fontes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to make him sound more fancy, all right?
Sorry, Brad. We're such big Grizz fans over here.
My fonts didn't load, okay?
Hey, I paid respect to your guys' players. I just expect a little bit of, respect. I want respect, damn it.
Hey, so we have a guy that just transferred from our offensive line. His first name's Omar. Would you like to say his last name for me?
I never got my grade 9.
Let's see how respectful it is, okay?
Yeah. I mean, we do the best we can. Most of the time, if it's somebody that I even think I might come close to butchering their names, I just say something else.
or he makes me say it,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I usually mispronounce it in the fanciest way possible because I feel like that's respectful.
I feel like
You know?
I don't know. I
That
don't
is
know.
respectful. I get it.
I don't know about Brad, but I'm pretty sure you're probably the only English major there was.
Ever?
No, I mean
You
like
think
on
in
this
history?
podcast. Yeah, you're the
Out
first.
of the three of us, yes, I think I'm the only English major.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is true.
So
yeah.
if I'm gonna worry about phonetics, I think I'll just leave that to you.
Yeah, that wasn't my strong suit.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I'm still hooked on phonics when it comes to that. You know, I just come up with words that sound good together. Sometimes that's it.
Yeah, kind of like sometimes your intro deal for me on the podcast. Just
Yeah.
come up with random words.
Come up with random things that don't mean anything. You know, it's my favorite thing. Especially when I called you ignominious and nobody knew what it meant, and it turned out that it was a bad thing.
Yeah,
You know?
and you knew for a fact I wouldn't know what it means.
I was like, that's just a Dave Chappelle special. That's the only reason I know the word. All right. Do we have any more takes to get off for this this FCS championship game?
I don't know. Should we do individual predictions here? I know Brad kind of gave us his prediction, and I kind of gave mine. But
Did you, Brad? Did you give a score?
Oh, I don't think
I did not give a score.
Are you morally opposed to scores?
I am not really opposed to scores. I'll
Okay.
go for it.
All
I'll
right.
send it.
Go
So
for
let's
it.
see. I'm going to switch it up though. I'm going to say it's the Grizz on top. I'm going to go 21-17.
Ooh, 21-17.
I'm going to say it got down and dirty and
Junior
Took
Bergen
advantage
had
of a couple
3
home runs.
punt returns for touchdowns.
that's the only way they're winning.
what was the kick return?
Nah, Eric, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking. I'm honestly the way South Dakota State has been all year and last year, and just the kind of team that they are. I don't think they're going to blow the Grizzlies out, but I feel like 14 is safe. I'm going to go 28-14.
28-14. Okay. Well, I'm also going to go with the Jackrabbits, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. I don't think your 14 points is going to hit. I'm going to be a hater right now. I'm betting against your bet at this very second, and I'm going to say that it is 34-27.
How do you even get 34 points?
You gotta just really work on it. You know, you just work hard and you get 34 points.
You got to miss an extra point.
Exactly. This is a championship game. Anything can happen. We got some Team of Destiny stuff happening. Okay, there's gonna be some ridiculous things happening.
You're giving me a migraine every time you say that.
That is exactly what I'm here for. That is what I do.
I just know
That is my position on this podcast.
I feel like most of our listeners have listened to you talk about how bad at sports betting you are,
Yes.
so that probably makes my bet really safe
Yes,
if you're going to go against it.
you're welcome. That's
I don't
also
know if I want Ben giving a prediction on this at this point.
the Ben Jinx is also why I keep calling Montana the Team of Destiny, because I kept calling Montana State the Team of Destiny for like 3 straight weeks when we were trying to win back to being the Big Sky champions. And so I was like, we're gonna fight through this. We're gonna fight back from this Idaho loss. We're going to fight back from Cat Grizz. We're going to hit the playoffs. We got some Team of Destiny vibes going on. And then we had an extra point in overtime.
I think if that's what your Team of Destiny thing is all about, I can actually get behind that probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
I want
all that it's
I want
about.
to hear from Eric specifically. Who do you think is the Team of Destiny?
The Team of Destiny? Like
Yes.
in this game or just in general?
Yes.
In this game?
This game. I'll take this game.
The Team of Destiny from the very beginning of the season, and actually you can even go back to last year's national championship, is obviously the Jackrabbits.
You can't be the Team of Destiny if you won last year. You cannot.
Yes, you can, because
There's
Destiny
that's
is
an
a
overdog.
thing.
There's no such thing as overdogs, okay? You can't cheer for the overdog.
I absolutely can, because I am not going to root for the Grizzlies. That's a fact. I said it all year.
I'm not going to cheer for them, but I'm not going to say that they're the Team of Destiny.
I told you I would root for the Grizzlies a little bit against North Dakota State because I absolutely hate them more than
That's true. That's factual.
I hate them. I'm trying to maybe the I might hate them more than Braves
Yeah.
And definitely hate them more than like the Mets and the Yankees and but
The worst part about the NDSU Grizz game was that I was currently coaching a basketball game during it, so all I was hearing was scores from behind me, from every single dad that was watching the game on their phone during our game. We're like losing by,
it was
I don't know, it was a lot. We were losing by a lot, and on top of that, I have to hear the Grizz scored again. It's going to overtime.
No, it was the other way around because the Grizz were up and North Dakota State scored, and that was me. And I don't have a kid on the team.
Yeah, you don't have a kid on the team, but you did come to sport. I appreciate it.
I came to watch you, buddy.
All right.
Now, if your reasoning for Team of Destiny is that they're going to lose, then it absolutely is the Grizzlies.
It's not my reasoning. I'm just trying to get in touch with the universe, and usually I'm not that in touch with the universe.
Yeah, I'm just going to avoid that altogether.
Well, I tell you what, even if that is the reasoning, I just need Eric to say the complete sentence. Montana is the Team of Destiny.
You're asking a lot, but because you were gracious enough to join us today, I will say Montana is very close to being the Team of Destiny. How about that? Does that close enough?
I'm going to put that in the intro music right
No,
there.
you're not.
I'm putting that in the intro music for every single episode.
We're good.
And I'm going to clip out the part where he said very close. He said the words. He deserves it.
How about this, Brad? I'll say it. If Montana wins, I'll say it full length
All right.
without very close.
I can appreciate that.
That
I
gives
even
people
appreciate you even thinking about it.
that gives people a reason to tune in next week after this, when the entire FCS football season is over and we really figure out if anybody wants to listen to us talk.
I'm going to be honest with you. If the Grizzlies win and we have to do an episode about that, that's going to be tough. This is not going to be fun.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about throughout the game. I'm just glad it's a game on a Sunday so I can actually watch it. All these playoff games have been during my basketball games, so I have to watch them afterwards.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. We'll see. I really, really don't want to talk about the Grizzlies winning, though.
It's been hard enough trying to find material for the last 2 weeks so that we can just talk about anything. I started like looking up mascots at bowl games.
Yeah,
Okay?
Mr.
Mascots
Pop-Tart.
the Pop-Tart mascot was the highlight of my week, okay?
Yeah. Well,
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Brad, hope you have a great time in Frisco. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me on, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
This was a lot more fun than the Brawl of the Wild episode, and I feel confident saying that because I know those two definitely aren't going to listen to this episode. I guarantee they never listen to any of them because if they would have listened to any of them, they would have known more about their own team, let alone the Bobcats. Thank you for coming on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you're rating us 5 stars wherever you're listening to this at. We are also available on YouTube. I noticed that we are not getting very many views on YouTube, so if that is where you would like to listen to this from now on, we do have that option available. We're going to close down the merch store probably next week. Season 1 will be ending after this championship game, so if you want to get any of that sweet Cats Pod merch, make sure you get it before the national championship because it will not be available afterwards unless you're a special friend. Special friends will still have availability.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. All right. Anybody who comes on the podcast.
yep, exactly.
Thanks again, Brad. Hope you have a great time in Frisco, and we'll see everybody next week.
Yep, sounds good. We'll catch you on the flippity flop.
That's what you're going with this week?
I think so.
Yeah, all right.